With my last video, the top 15 reasons why Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is awesome being so successful, I thought, what better way to follow up with that video than by giving a helpful guide to those just starting out with the Metal Gear Solid franchise. So without further ado, here are 15 tips for playing Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain. Coming in at number 15 is scope out your surroundings beforehand. Metal Gear Solid 5 offers the player more freedom than any previous game in the series, and with that comes more opportunities to be spotted by enemy troops. With the lack of a radar or sonar on your UI to detect enemies, your binoculars will become your best friend. Before every mission, scope out your surroundings from a high vantage point, and be sure to scan for enemy troops as well as vehicles, artillery, and anything that might be of value. Coming in at number 14 is look for alternative routes. While most mission settings look similar from a distance, it's easy to forget that each one was meticulously crafted to be approached in various ways. Whether sneaking around stealthily or going in guns blazing, be sure to look for various alternate routes that may not be so obvious at first glance. Stone structures and ruins will likely have cracks and footholds to climb. Similarly, man-made buildings will have pipes alongside them to shimmy up several floors. Vehicles and larger equipment are a good place to crawl underneath for cover. Also, large facilities will usually have a vent or underlying passageway that is also accessible through crawling. Coming in at number 13 is always engage at night. Before starting each mission, Metal Gear Solid 5 offers 3 options for when you want to engage: ASAP, morning, and dusk. Now, personally, I always choose ASAP, opting to start a mission regardless if it's day or night. But for those just starting out, I suggest commencing your missions at night. Not only does darkness provide more cover, but it also allows players to use shadows to their advantage, allowing Snake to camouflage with his surroundings more effectively. While not everyone's option of choice, playing at night limits the visibility of your enemies, ultimately preventing you from being seen. Coming in at number 12 is keep an eye out for satellite dishes, generators, and comm stations. While scoping out your surroundings, be sure to keep an eye out for satellite dishes, generators, and comm stations. These are usually indicated by neon blue lights that shine nicely in the dark. When activated, all lights in the vicinity will shut down, causing chaos and provide more cover, at least at night. While radars are easy enough to spot perched on the rooftops of buildings and tents, communications equipment is usually housed indoors and isn't always the easiest to find. If you come across any of these, be sure to leave a C4 explosive behind. This creates a natural backup plan should you get in trouble. Coming in at number 11 is change your tactics regularly. What's important to note about Metal Gear Solid 5 is that if you use the same tactics to take down enemies again and again, the AI will not only learn from this, but adapt accordingly. For example, if you're quite liberal with headshots either with your tranq gun or any gun, you'll see more enemies wearing steel helmets to prevent this from happening. Similarly, the overuse of smoke grenades will result in enemies wearing gas masks, and the overuse of assault rifles will result in enemies carrying riot shields. To prevent this from happening, it's a good idea to change your tactics regularly when taking down enemies. Coming in at number 10 is always have something in development. Your mother base acts as your central hub for everything that takes place in Metal Gear Solid 5. As more personnel are added to your roster alongside vehicles, artillery, and resources, you're going to need the capacity to store them comfortably and effectively. That's why it's important to always be consistently upgrading your mother base. Not only does each upgrade cost a considerable amount of resources to create, it also takes a considerable amount of time to build, roughly several hours in real time. So don't worry about building too much too fast, because pretty soon you'll have more resources than you can handle. Coming in at number 9 is always look out for resources. One of the most important aspects of the Phantom Pain is learning how to manage your resources. In the beginning, resource gathering is simple enough. During missions, be on the lookout for diamonds, minerals, plants, and blueprints, essentially anything that you can snatch and grab. As you upgrade your Fulton recovery system, so too will your ability to gather larger items for your mother base worth more money, including artillery, vehicles, shipping containers full of resources, along with additional personnel. While completing your mission is important, if you want to be successful in the long run, be sure to constantly look out for resources in-game. Coming in at number 8 is choose the buddy appropriate to the mission. Throughout Metal Gear Solid 5, you'll develop 4 buddies, each with different skills and abilities: D-Dog, Quiet, D-Horse, and the D-Walker. While the D-Horse is available with you from the onset, aside from getting you across vast distances, it isn't good for much else offensively. D-Dog, in addition to attacking enemies quickly, can sniff out enemies, hostages, and other animals in the vicinity, and develop the ability to bark later on in the game, further distracting enemies. The D-Walker, in addition to getting you across vast distances, is more suited for offensive attacks against tanks and vehicles, as well as waves of enemy troops. Similarly, quiet as a sniper can provide a great tactical advantage on the battlefield, as well as scout out enemies, vehicles, and artillery beforehand. Keep in mind that each buddy is not always best suited for every mission, so be sure to take this into consideration before starting each one. Coming in at number 7 is Use the Phantom Cigar. One of the most innovative new features in Metal Gear Solid 5 is the Phantom Cigar. As described in my previous video, the Phantom Cigar is an electronic cigar that, when smoked by the player, speeds up time around them. Use this feature to track the individual patrol routes of marked soldiers to avoid them upon infiltration. Similarly, this feature can be used to quickly turn day into night if need be. Coming in at number 6 is Don't Panic During Reflex Mode. One of the features of past MGS games that I've always despised is the unavoidable alert status that makes you count down from 100 seconds every time Snake was spotted, followed by a subsequent caution mode. While this has been removed from Phantom Pain in lieu of a more realistic approach, another cool addition to Phantom Pain is Reflex Mode. If Snake is spotted by an unsuspecting enemy, not only will the player be alerted, but they will also go into Reflex Mode, in which everything drastically slows down, giving the player a brief window to take out the enemy before alerting others around them. What's important thing here is not to panic when this happens, because if you take them out quickly enough, you'll more than likely be in the clear. Coming in at number 5 is Use the Fulton recovery system in other ways. Now, it probably goes without saying that it's best to upgrade your Fulton recovery system as soon as possible, since it will eventually allow you to transport larger resources like jeeps and shipping containers back to your mother base. But there are other useful tricks it can be used for as well. For instance, the Fulton recovery system can also be used to take out airborne gunships by lifting large objects in their path. Similarly, if you're looking for a quick escape but don't have enough room for a landing zone, use your Fulton recovery and hop on top a shipping container, as it will automatically transport you back to mother base. Coming in at number 4 is Refer to briefing tapes for mission hints. One big difference between Phantom Pain and previous Metal Gear Solid games is the switch from your codex to your iDroid for mission intel and briefings. While each mission is given a brief overview as you airdrop into your destination, it's easy to forget that these mission briefs can be brought up at any time in the cassette tape menu of your iDroid. Coming in at number 3 is Use your cardboard box. A favorite in the Metal Gear Solid series has always been your trusty cardboard box that not only provides cover but allows you to get from one area of your map to the other without being detected. This is nothing new. However, aside from your iDroid and binoculars, your cardboard box might be one of the more valuable tools in your arsenal. You know those posters you see in and around the game world? Well, those can be used on your box to distract soldiers, and in most cases bring them towards you before taking them down. And if used correctly, this can be done again and again, oftentimes to great effect. Coming in at number 2 is Combat Development Missions can have added benefits. As you progress through Phantom Pain, more and more personnel will be added to your mother base, so it only makes sense to give them something to do. This is solved with the Combat Development tab on your mission selection screen. While successful missions yield some pretty impressive rewards, what many people don't know is that these covert op missions can actually affect your missions in-game. One mission in particular involves sabotaging a helmet factory, ensuring less of those are worn by enemy soldiers during future missions. The same is true for your people sabotaging gun depots, so be sure to note this when assigning tasks. And coming in at number 1 is Use supply drops as a distraction. Supply drops are the in-game delivery system for weapons, ammo, and equipment. This is done via a helicopter that flies past your position and parachutes your package of supplies overhead. But in a pinch, these supply drops can act as a distraction to enemies if you're looking to infiltrate a base. Just pick a random item, select a nearby drop point, and go in when appropriate. Similarly, videos have even begun to appear online of players taking out key targets with supply drops alone. And there you have it, the top 15 tips for playing Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Now, maybe you have your own tip that you want to contribute to this list. In that case, feel free to put a comment in the comment section below, and as always, feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. That being said, I'm the Millennium Gamer, signing off.